Wednesday is just another day in the middle of the week, ends in the letter Y. You know what that means? If it's a day that ends in a Y, it probably means USC got another football commitment.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I am your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, whatever platform you want to download this podcast, it's always going to be free, and I'm always going to tell you how much I appreciate your support. So we know the word Troy ends in the letter Y. It's another good word. Remember back when USC had to settle for playing in the Rose Bowl, 2004, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. USC was literally in their automatic wash, rinse, repeat mode. It was a great cycle. But people were actually getting bored. I kid you not. There were USC fans who were literally kind of saying it under their breath, and some of them out loud, can't believe USC has to play in the Rose Bowl again. Well, USC just got another commitment again. And there are actually some fans out there who are a little concerned that he's only a 3-star. Whatever. The same thing is happening with USC's 2026 recruiting cycle. Just like all those Rose Bowls, USC had to settle for another recruiting commitment every day. It seems like they're getting one every day. We're still waiting for Tom. We're waiting for his official flip to USC, his commitment video, edit, whatever you call those things. Still being put together, from what I understand. Look for Friday. That's a day that ends in the letter Y. Might be a good day on Friday. However, one day after Tom decommitted from Oregon, USC, Zach Hanson, the offensive line room, got another ginormous offensive tackle prospect to commit to the class of 2026. I mentioned just a second ago, he's a 3-star. He's from San Diego, California, Cathedral Catholic High School. Good school. His name is Chase Denise, 6'7", 305 pounds. He's announced his commitment to USC. And he did that literally a day after he took an unofficial visit to USC. I told you, there are a lot of guys on campus for USC's first day of spring camp. Quote, after an amazing visit and careful consideration, I am honored and blessed to say I am 100% committed to playing college football at the University of Southern California, and I want to thank my family and coaches for being there with me along this journey. He's not quite as ginormous as Elijah Vicona. Remember, Elijah Page used those words to describe incoming freshman Vicona. However, 6'7", 305 pounds, and he hasn't started his senior year of high school yet. Now, plenty big enough. Look, you can teach how to use better footwork. You can teach better hand placement technique, how to read what the defense is doing. All that is coachable. And you can also help guys develop, bulk up, add weight, drop weight. All that you can do. But you can't make someone grow taller, right? You can't stretch their arms out longer, not unless you're using one of those medieval torture racks. But that's what USC just added. Junior campaign behind him, hasn't started his senior year yet. He's considered a 3-star from San Diego. 16 commitments so far in this cycle. That would make 9 from the state of 10 from the state of California, 9 from Southern California. Is anybody complaining? Voicing their concerns? Upset that USC isn't bringing in an elite offensive lineman? Well, He's the third one in the cycle that Zach Hanson and the USC coaching staff has brought in. You've got Easton Taffa, 6'5", 290 pounds. You got John Fafita, 6'6", 350 pounds. Both of those guys are an interior offensive lineman. And now you've just brought in a 6'7", 300-plus pounder to develop at offensive tackle. That doesn't mean USC isn't focusing on elite guys. But when you have the opportunity to bring in the biggest high school recruiting class in the history of USC football, you can go after a few of these guys. There's room. It's not like they're gonna cost a lot against your NIL checkbook. You got revenue sharing that'll help take care of some of this. So you got those guys. And like I said, USC has not given up on the elite prospects. I've been talking about them during the entire offseason, heading into spring camp. So USC's still going after Kenyi Pepe, Kobe's little big brother. You're still going after Malachi Lee. You're still going after Vlad Diakonov. You're still going after Oregon's next decommit in waiting, Cody Green from Mater Dei. USC is pursuing really hard the offensive tackle from Idaho. What's his name? Kevin Olbit. Plus a couple of others. So USC's doing really well right now, obviously. 16 guys committed to their 2026 recruiting cycle. 3 of them offensive linemen. You can see the size they're adding. So here's just some of the guys right now that were hanging out on USC's campus with Chase first day of spring camp. You had defensive tackle Tom Tapui. You had cornerback athlete Brandon Arrington, San Diego, California. Wide receiver Cohen Brown, 6'1", 180 pounds from the state of Texas. He just got back, and you need to head on over to wearec.com. But I can tell you right now that USC is his leader in the clubhouse. Scott Schrader's got a lot of good recruiting information for you over there. Spend a buck. You can afford it. What about tight end Andre Nickerson? He's from Inglewood High School. 6'4", 220 pounds. You got another linebacker, Kenneth Goodwin. Safety, Gavin Day, 6'3", 190 pounds, from Las Vegas Faith Lutheran High School. He's got schools like Utah and Arizona and Iowa, Purdue, Texas A&M, among others who are chasing him. A couple of 2027 targets. Safety, Khalil Terry. Defensive lineman, John Ione. They're both from Tustin High School. Their chaperone for the day, Chris Hawkins. He said, you know what? Let's go hang out at my alma mater. So Chris, he's coaching high school ball over there at Tustin now. He's got a few prospects that he thinks USC should be investing some time into. Brought him on campus. I got another recruiting note for you. This one's here's a quote from Vance Spafford, wide receiver, Mission Viejo High School. I want to experience my recruiting because this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This is the only time when I really get the cards in my hands. In other words, he's saying, I hold all the cards right now. I want to be able to experience everything. So I'm not going to say no to a visit. I want to experience new relations, new connections with schools, and just the experience itself. Being able to put my family in a position to have those luxuries is something I'm going to take full advantage of, end quote. Vance is not doing anything new. This isn't selfish. Taking your visits is something everybody should be encouraged to do. You should definitely go check out other parts of the country you want that experience. Not everybody gets to do that, especially on someone else's dime. They're going to pay for it. Get on the plane. Just ask for a window or an aisle seat. Don't settle. I can also tell you that Vance is very serious about making his decision. So serious, in fact, that he's going to set up his own official visit to USC. From what I heard, he's not coming for that 6th, 7th weekend. Instead, he's going to show up on Monday, June 8th through the 10th. He wants to be by himself. Now, that could change. We use the F word around here all the time. Maybe he joins his good friend, Brandon Lockhart for the June 20th weekend. Good friend, Brandon Lockhart. I want to emphasize that. And one more time, if you want to find out what else Vance had to say about USC, go when you're done watching this episode of Locked On USC. You're done with the Locked On Network. If you got $1, WeAreSC.com has that 1-week subscription special. Take advantage of it. Trust me. All right. Got more information to talk to you about. Offensive line, USC. I've seen enough. And then we're also going to talk about some of the freshmen who I saw first day of spring camp. Stick around. We got a lot of good stuff for you coming up. Every now and then you look at your bank account and you're going, dude, I thought I had more money. Maybe I'm going to have a bologna sandwich for dinner. You get my point. You're not really eating bologna, hopefully, but you get my point. Look, between eating out and shopping online and entertainment, you lose track of that money. It's easy. But that's where Monarch money comes in. It's like having your own personal CFO. It's going to give you full visibility and total control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, and spending, and you can do it all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building your wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check in on your finances, track your spending. You can even start planning some long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. I'm ready to give you my 2 deep for the offensive line. I've seen enough. One day, spring camp, it's all I needed to see. I hope everybody can sense the sarcasm right now. If you're not watching on YouTube and you're listening to it, I'm being sarcastic. With that being said, I'm going to give you my 2D and I'll tell you why during this segment. Left tackle, Elijah Page, Justin Tauanu. Left guard, I think this is going to be a battle between Gianre Reed and Micah Benuelos. Your center 2 deep, Killian O'Connor and General Reed. Right guard, Oline Noah's got that spot locked up. DJ Wingfield. And then at right tackle, Tobias Raymond and DJ Wingfield. I like that versatility. It's kind of getting 2 for 1 out of those guys. And after them, you've got Hayden Trader. You've got Makai Sena. You got the behemoth, Erwin Teomi. I think those are the 3 guys, Trader, Sena, Teomi, after those aforementioned guys in the 2 deep, who have the best chance to play this season. Excuse me. So that's 11 names I just rattled off. And that's before I even talk about, the freshmen and the preferred walk-ons. I don't anticipate any of the incoming freshmen or any of the walk-ons getting a chance to play unless that offensive line room gets decimated by injuries. That's me knocking on wood. It ain't happening, right? So, and look, unless there is a for sure, cannot miss right tackle that's going to emerge in the transfer portal that doesn't cost you above market price, USC's offensive line room is plenty deep enough. So that's why I'm telling you this is my 2 deep. This is why I think USC is content with the offensive line room. They're not going to go into the spring transfer portal window. And I said this on the Inside the Trojan Huddle panel show this week that we recorded. At a certain point, you have to start learning how to dance with a girl that you brought. The winter transfer portal is where you shop for the plug and play starters. That's where you pay for the big names. The god awful spring transfer portal window, that's your bargain shopping. That's off the rack. Nordstrom's rack, right? Your backups, guys who are going to compete, to be getting the rotation, but not necessarily somebody who's coming in ready to take a starting spot. I think USC has bigger needs at linebacker. That needs depth if you're going to go in and spend some money in the winter portal. I don't think USC is going in there for an offensive lineman. I don't think they need one. You definitely have bigger needs with depth at linebacker. Probably cornerback, wide receiver. You're looking for some veteran experience. Look, I'm just trying to set a reasonable expectation level. I'm not sure anybody should anticipate an elite guy walking through Goo Gate when fall camp starts. When I say that, I'm talking about USC grabbing somebody out of the spring transfer portal window. But now, look, there could be one or two who have an option to do that. In fact, USC, I don't think it's going to be an offensive lineman. But I do think USC right now is looking at Stanford's roster. You're saying, well, why are they looking at Stanford's roster, Mark? Stanford just fired their head coach, Troy Taylor. Talk about bad timing. I mean, March 26th is when I'm recording this episode, and Stanford's looking for a head coach. It's crazy. So I decided, you know what? Let's check out Stanford's roster because I know of a few guys that could definitely enhance USC's roster and at positions of need. So now that we've got the offensive line, USC's offensive line room taken care of, and I explained to you why, let's see who USC could get out of the portal. Remember that name, David Bailey, played at Mater Dei High School? He's a senior now. He plays outside linebacker. Yeah. What about Zach Johnson? He's a dude who plays inside linebacker. Again, both of those guys are starters for Stanford. Those guys were challenged for starting play at USC, but man, all of a sudden, USC's linebacker room, it jumps right to the top. It's right up there with the defensive line room. You want to get a wide receiver? What about Trent Mosley's older brother, Emmett Mosley the fifth? Maybe he wants to trade in his Stanford Cardinal for the Cardinal and Gold. He's 6'1", 195 pounds. He's a sophomore. He chose Stanford over USC and Notre Dame at high school. 3 really good choices. Again, you can never be upset at a young person for becoming a student athlete at Stanford. That's probably one of the few schools, power conference schools, that they can hold on to student first, athlete second. Here's somebody I love on Stanford's wide receiver, in their wide receiver room. Tiger Bachmeier. I used to watch that guy moss guys during 7-on-7. Just something about that young man that I realized, I like watching him play. He's a fun kid, fun young man to watch. So those were the players that kind of just popped off. Said, all right, USC could bring those guys in. They would help. Tiger's a long, lanky wide receiver, long arms, not afraid to catch the ball in traffic. And here's a wild card for you. What about their offensive line coach, Vianney Talamayavo? That name should ring a bell for USC fans. Remember, programs can have unlimited staffs now. Size does not matter. However many you want, bring them on. It's how many can be off-campus recruiting coaches. I think Vianney would love to come to USC in any capacity. Kind of give himself a reset year to find another gig, get out of that mess that's going on in Palo Alto right now. Imagine Zach Hanson, Vianney Talamayaba, Coach Aaron Ama, Coach Dog. You get that trio together working recruiting offensive line. Yeah. First of all, those three guys would bankrupt Phil Knight. USC would never lose another offensive line recruiting, especially if we're talking about the poly community. Coach Dog, Coach Vianney together. I'll take that pair any day of the week, any single day of the week, any day that ends in Y. How's that? All right, so USC's having a really good week right now. Spring camp's going on. They're getting commitments. They're getting guys to decommit from Oregon to commit to USC. Good week. All right, we got one more segment to go. Stick around. We're all about the stats because numbers, they don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus their gear. And they'll take you wherever you need to go. It's powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you want to go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, and you can learn more at nissanusa.com. Hey, don't forget, the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16, Elite 8 is going to happen this weekend. These guys will lead you there.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Hey, real quick PSA for this show, Locked On USC. If you like the show, you like the information you're getting, and you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed yet, I'm not sure why, click that red subscribe button. It's free. And you know what? You know what else helps the show? Smash that thumbs up. Like this show. Pretend you're the Hulk. Just smash. And I don't want you to miss any information. I do this show 5 times a week. Click that bell notification. You'll be covered. I'll get you through spring camp. You'll get all your recruiting information. This USC might be the place to be. Locked On USC is the place to be when you're not at weareusc.com, my other place. All right, so John Avalos 4097, he's one of my loyal everydayers, listens to the show every day. He asked me a question. Mark, besides Jakeem Stewart, which incoming freshman will push for a lot of playing time? Your dark horse. I have my eyes on Gus Cordova, end quote. John, I think you know, I bought my Gus Bus riding pass, say that 3 times fast, a long time ago. So I agree. I think Gus has a good chance to earn some rotational play this year. He's got that tenacious motor. He's got a big-time desire to be a Trojan. And when you mix those 2 things in, and you got Coach Henney and you got Coach Nua pushing you, you got a good chance. It's a good combination. Jakeem Stewart, a.k.a. Thanos, that's a no-brainer, right? He's going to play. Here's my fluid list. Again, just use the F word. These are the true freshmen with a chance to play in 2025. Since you asked, here you go. And these are the guys who are already enrolled. So I'm going to go over those guys first because they probably have the best chance. They're into the playbook. They're with the team. They're learning the process, what it means. If you watched yesterday's episode of Locked in USC, I had that video looped in the background showing the guys leaving the McKay Center, heading into practice. You saw Jakeem Stewart. I just mentioned him. The other guy, Floyd Bucard. He jumps off the bus with the look of a guy who could play a few reps this year. He is definitely a first guy off the bus. On yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, I said, quote, "Not sure freshmen are supposed to look like seniors, but I'm good with Floyd Bucard and Jakeem Stewart walking in like they took someone's milk money." They got that look. I mean, let me just remind everybody. Jakeem doesn't even turn 18 until May. Floyd, he just got legal back in January. So they're still young chronologically. You look at those bodies, they're not young. They're physically developed. Another guy who has a chance, defensive back, Alex Graham from Michigan. Physically, he looks ready. 6 foot even. At least that's how he's listed. 193 pounds. He's got good upper body strength. And if not part of the too deep, which would, again, we're talking about who can press for playing time. If you're a freshman and you want to see the field, become a special teams maven. Contribute there. So that's where I could see him getting a lot of playing time this season. Same for Tristan Castro from Upland, California. He's another defensive back who looks physically developed. 6'1", 181 pounds. He came ready to play. Huson Longstreet's kind of a throw-in. I mean, it's kind of one of those, really? I mean, he's going to make, look, one of two things is going to happen. Well, hopefully both things happen. He's going to make Jaden Mayava a better quarterback because he's pushing him. And eventually, Huson's going to get that starting job. All right, here's my honorable mention list. Remember, these are true freshmen, and these are guys who are already on campus. They're kind of on the cusp right now. I mentioned Corey Sims' name on yesterday's episode. Physically, he looks developed everywhere except in my underdeveloped arms. Who knows what he looks like in the fall? That's why he's on my honorable mention list. Safety Stephen Miller is another guy. Remember, USC recruited him as an athlete, James Johnson. Right now, he's listed as a cornerback on the spring roster. So those are the honorable mention list of the true freshmen who are already enrolled. Don't expect to hear an offensive lineman from me. It's not going to happen. But these are the guys who arrive this summer. You got Matai Tagoai. You have Romero Eisen, Harry Dalton, Kadarius D. Reddick, Tanuk Hines, AJ Tuatelli. I mentioned Gus Cordova. And you have another edge player, Jaden Ramos. Out of those guys, special teams. Especially D. Reddick. Matai. You want speed? If you're looking for a return guy, maybe? Romero Eisen, Harry Dalton, Tanuk Hines. All possibilities. And they all bring speed. So hit me up in the comments section. Who are some of your true freshmen who have a legitimate shot of getting some playing time this year? I'm not talking about busting in that 2 deep rotation. I'm just talking about seeing the field. Let me know. I will be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. We're going to be covering, you heard me say we. I'm going to have a special guest. But we're going to be talking about day 2 of spring camp. I'm going to have my Friday rant. So until then, make sure you tune in. So until that next episode of Locked on USC, Everyone, don't forget, you know what to do.